Hello, everyone. I hope you have been doing pretty good. That last week was amazing and that you're prepared for the upcoming one already. Today, I want to talk to you about something that recently came up where there was the death of a famous person. It was a rather high profile, and several people have asked me or commented on it to me. And I didn't know this person. Had never heard about him. I didn't know what they were famous for, who they were, what they did. I didn't know what they did that warranted the way in which their life was ended either. It's just something that was brought up to my attention. And rather than comment on this individual, I have no idea who they are. I'm unable to actually pile up on any kind of conspiracy I'm not able to say what happened to them specifically. The only actual thing I would like to say is for the people that remain here, the ones that their family and so forth that didn't pass along with them. I wish and I pray to God that you will actually be able to find the peace in the only place that you can actually find peace, which is within Jesus Christ. So far from this being a message, as I said, piling up conspiracies or giving opinions about someone that I had no idea that even existed, I'd like to address the topic of the death of celebrities as a whole, just in general. First of all, I'd like to say, or I'd like to ask, what is fame? And I'd like to answer that by saying that to me, fame is overrated, highly so. And one of the main problems that I see with faith is that it's usually put in an altar in a very idolatrous way, in which people are seen as stars and as something greater than even ourselves for no particular reason other than the fact that they're famous. So I can tell you, I do have people I admire. For example, I'm a guitarist myself, so whenever I can hear someone making a guitar weep, I admire that. But it does not mean I admire every facet of this person's life. I do not know everything about them. I usually will not look into their personal lives. I don't care about that. I just care about the fact that they play the guitar nicely. That's it. Even so, though, if I were to look at them just at a human perspective level, and I like to determine what is it that makes me admire them. Is it their fame? Is it what they have? Is it the fact that they're already famous? Is that why I am admiring them? And if that's the case, then I have to ask myself, what is there to admire? Is it that they reach their fame by doing good things, helping people out, helping people reach Jesus, or I don't know, anything that brought them to this famous place to begin with? Was it a good reason for me to have my admiration placed on them? Especially if that's not the case for me, is it the case for my children? Are they worth my children's admiration in any way? So it's actually said in Proverbs 22, in verses 1 and 2, that a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. And then verse 2 says, the rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. So basically, we're all equal before God, regardless of whether we're rich or not. And in His eyes, it is a lot better that we have a good reputation based on our good deeds or have no reputation at all than to we actually accumulate wealth despite doing so with bad actions or bad deeds. There is a trend, and I believe it's not just a trend of the times, it's actually been there for quite a while. And it's going around making its rounds with our teenagers, and they're dazzled with this fame and how it promises to bring things along with it. And basically, the trend is you are willing to do anything to obtain this. From my younger days, I can tell you that not so long ago, but not so close either, there were music videos that we were able to see where we would see people going into mansions in their luxury cars, and in their mansions they'd go to their pools full of scantily clothed women and drink all types of alcohol and get all kinds of drugs in them, sometimes very explicitly, sometimes very just implied by the video itself. And that was basically the ultimate goal of a lot of people, just reaching that point in life where you could grab a wad of dollars and just be tossing them around because you have so many of them that doesn't even matter anymore. So there's this to ask. I mean, this used to be previously prominent in rap and hip hop and rock videos, but now we see it a lot in reggaeton, especially in Latin America. So, hedonistically speaking, if we're just molecules in action and we're all going to die someday and that's going to be the end of it all and there's nothing greater than ourselves, then what's wrong with doing anything to achieve this kind of pleasure? It's the greatest pleasure the world has to offer, anyhow. So, that's hedonistically speaking, though. And it doesn't take into consideration whether there's life after this death, and especially it doesn't take into consideration whether or not there is a God that we're accountable to. And there's this to ask as well. I mean, no actual atheist will be able to answer this correctly. I've never seen one in any of the many videos that I've watched answer this correctly. Where does actual morality come from? And if it's objective morality, where does it come from? If it's not from ourselves. If it does come from ourselves, then it's subjective. There's no way to put it. I've seen people try to say that it's just a matter of evolution. Evolution brought us here. I don't see how it's random. That would not be objective in any way. Or they try to say that it's society. Society established morality. If that's the case, then it's subjective. There's nothing objective about that at all. Anyhow, I mean, this used to be just portrayed to us mainly in music videos, but nowadays, with the rise of this so-called influencers that we see them directly boasting of what they have or how they look. And most of the times, I've seen this happen in a fashion in which they're not only boasting of what they have or how they look, but how they achieve this by doing things that are not precisely correct. Even the sale of drugs, the taking from people that that weren't as smart as them, these kind of things, they're actually brought up to a level as if it were great that they're doing it. And it's just this whole thing of pride and people showing themselves as so great because of what they have. And our children, our teenagers, they're watching this and they're absorbing it daily. Now, it says in Ecclesiastes 5:10, "He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied by silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity." So that is to say, yeah, if you want money, you will crave money all your life. It's not something you're ever going to have enough of. And if you want abundance, you will never have enough. And that's true. I can tell you myself, I've had a pretty bountiful life myself. And even so, I've run into occasions in my life where I've wanted more and more and more. And the more I want and the more I get, it just never stops. It continues happening. I was once asked, why do the Proverbs make so many unfulfilled promises? They say, for example, that if you're good, you'll do well in life, and that if you try hard, you'll actually achieve things, and that good things happen to good people. Why doesn't this really happen this way sometimes? And I can tell you a key detail to keep in mind while you're reading the Proverbs is that it's not written as a book of promises, and it's not written as a book of prophecies either. It's rather a father's guide to his son about what's the usual effect of a certain cause. And usually it follows. I mean, usually if you are a good person, if you do good with your neighbors will not mess you up. Even so, there's exceptions to this rule, of course. It's going to happen. Now, if you don't believe me that this is just the guide of a father for his son, I mean, just read Proverbs 1 through 6. It tells you right there what it's about, what it's trying to achieve. I was also told that it seemed like Proverbs was written by someone that's blind to reality, while if you read Ecclesiastes, it's actually the most negative book in the world written by the most negative person in the world. Ironically, for those of us that have studied church history in any way or read about it, we know that both of these books are actually attributed to the same person, which is King Solomon, at different points in his life, but still to King Solomon. And if we were to read, for example, this, and in contrast to what Proverbs says, we read Ecclesiastes 8:14. It says, "There is a vanity which is done upon the earth, that there be just men, unto whom it happeneth according to the work of the wicked. Again, there be wicked men to whom it happens according to the work of the righteous. I said that this is also vanity. And all that is to say that sometimes good people get bad things, sometimes bad people get good things. And that's actually what I see in life. There's so many people that live wickedly and they receive so many good things. Just let's talk about drug lords. I mean, they have so much, and yet they're selling drugs that kill our children, our teenagers. They damage so many people. They damage our society so much, and they're still living bountifully. So which one is right though? Is it Proverbs which says that if you do good, you receive good, and if you do evil, you will receive punishment? Or is it Ecclesiastes that says that no matter how I act, sometimes I receive a reward that doesn't correspond to my actions? So to that I have to say that actually in reality they both are correct. Proverbs is what it should be, and it is an excellent advisor. Like I was saying, it usually tends to happen that if you're good, you receive good things. While Ecclesiastes is actually portraying the world in its fallen state, and we have been in its fallen state ever since Adam and Eve and their sin. So it's just not a just world anymore. It's not full of justice. That is not to say that our God is not just. For those out there that say that God is love, yeah, that's one of his many attributes, but another of his attributes is that he's just. And there are things that will be punished in this earth, and even so, they will still be punished in the next. If you're not with Jesus, that's what he promises. Some people will tell you that hell doesn't exist. I don't see how, because Jesus was the person that mentioned it the most in the Bible. And some people will tell you that hell lasts just for a little bit, then it ends. Which, again, I do not really see that portrayed in the Bible as such. But that's another whole different topic. Point of it being that God does serve justice in the most just way, because he is just. Now, the death of someone will always be sad to someone under almost any circumstance. After all, this person that's dying, that's passing away, we will not be seeing them anymore in this plane for quite a while. And depending on how they went, and depending on how we go, we will not see them on the other side either. So something that I can tell you that brings a lot of inspiration to me, or additional inspiration I should say, because Jesus already gave me so many promises that I aspire to reach heaven, but something that gives me even more of an inspiration to be there is the fact that I'm going to see my mom over there, and it's promised to me that I'll be able to be with her and talk to her, and she will have her individuality. She'll still be who she was here, and just with her glorified body, and that's just fills me out with hope, knowing that I'll be able to reach her on the other side. But in short, this message was mainly about famous people, celebrities passing away. What's the difference between them and us? There's none. The only thing that makes us have a difference amongst humans is those of us that are willing to accept Jesus and live under him, and those of us that are not. It is very important that we guide our children. Influencers is just a new way to call them, but there have always been influencers in this world, people who influence others with their actions, with their words, and people who follow either blindly or paying attention and still doing things that aren't all appropriate. So I pray to a God that us as fathers, as parents, that he gives us the strength to be able to filter out so much trash that our children and teenagers are being fed with. Just in the media, in every single way, in our social media especially, they receive so much trash that's posed to them as the ultimate goal of humanity. And I've fallen into this myself before. I've actually been one to propose to my children that they should reach success, and I think about it in my head, and success, when I said it, I was thinking about the success of this world, having things, being able to afford things, being able to go places. But that's not actual success. The actual success is, regardless of how I live or what I have, that I live for Jesus Christ. That's actual success. No matter how much you have, no matter how you look, I mean, the ultimate goal has to be Jesus Christ. And aside from that, though, nothing wrong with telling your children, yeah, you can aspire to getting things, but just don't make that your main aspiration. Make Jesus your main aspiration, and make that your secondary goal. And if yes, you want to look good, definitely go hit the gym, do exercise. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't make that your idol. Don't make that your God, because Jesus is your God. And I hope that Jesus gives you the strength to be able to filter out this trash and to always be the voice of reason, just like in Proverbs. Solomon was trying to give advice to his son, that we can constantly give advice to our sons and daughters and that we can guide them to Jesus. I mean, after all, he's the only way, the truth, and the life, right? So this is my message for today. I really hope that it blesses you. I hope that you can listen to this and analyze that death is death regardless of who it comes for, and that we all have death coming our way unless we reach eternal life through Jesus Christ. So this is my message, and I hope it blesses you like I said, and I send you hugs with a blessing. Have a great day.